Hello, what about you? You doing alright? That's good. Well, today we're going to draw a rather scary individual by the name of Purple Aggie. Purple Aggie. We'll learn more about him as we go on. But today's drawing is done on some grayscale paper and a sketchbook, just because it was the first thing that was lying around that I could grab. It's always good to mix up your mediums instead of drawing on white paper all the time, like drawing on brown bags, things like that, whatever's lying around. And I'm using a Tombow brush pen for anyone that's interested. You can get those in like art stores. And once again, I'm starting off with the eyes, the nose and the mouth, so I'm not locked into that head shape. If I want to adjust anything, I'm free to do so, because my head shape hasn't been determined yet. His features are free to roam, just like he was free to roam the streets of Liverpool and terrorise young men. So you're walking the streets of Merseyside late at night. You hear a noise behind you. You look over your shoulder. There's nobody there. So you keep walking. Then you hear another noise behind you. You're starting to get scared. You look round, but there's still nobody there. You turn right round and look behind the car. It was parked beside you. There's nobody there. So you turn around to keep walking, and all of a sudden there's a huge 6'4" gentleman standing in front of you. You think you're going to get mugged or something, but he just asks, "Can I feel your muscles, mate?" He wants to feel your muscles. So you agree. You lift up your shirt. He has a wee squeeze of your bicep. Then he asks if you would give him a piggyback ride. So he jumps on you. He's heavy. He's very heavy. And you're wondering why he's carrying a banana in his pocket. Then you realise he doesn't have a banana in his pocket. You've just had an encounter with Purple Aggie. So there were numerous cases and reports of things like this, asking young men to feel their muscles. And he got assault charges thrown at him. Numerous assault charges. And he spent quite a bit of time in prison. The British government actually had to make up a special order. It was the first of its kind for him specifically, to stop him from going to gyms and from specifically stopping feeling people's muscles. Because he was never charged with a sexual assault or anything like that. It was just feeling people's muscles and getting piggyback rides. So he pretty much became like a mythical boogeyman kind of thing in Liverpool. Now we're going to colour it, but first, a musical break.
Monkey creep in your face, monkey creep in your face, monkey creep in your face. Monkey creep in your face, monkey creep.
That was a glorious little musical number that was sent in to us by one of our viewers, Kookaburra Tomlinson. Thank you very much for that, Kookaburra. I really enjoyed that. And don't forget, folks, if you've got a musical number or a performance dance piece that you want to get played on the show here, send me the VHS tape to P.O. Box 7. So I'm colouring this with some markers that I've never used before. They just happen to be lying around, so I just grabbed these flesh tone markers and see what I can do with those. Now you can see I'm not just like scribbling and colouring in blocks. Starting off in the darker areas of his face, just to see how dark this marker will go onto the grey page too. You know, it's always good to experiment. Like, just try different mediums, colour things in. I use my kids' colouring pencils, crayons, baby shark markers, things like that sometimes. You never know what you can get from some mediums. But if you notice the technique, like I'm trying to keep unified lines going in one direction. On Purple Aki's head, big blockhead there, big oblong blockhead. I wanted to make sure I got that. So there was a lot of negative space in those cheeks, and between his features. So get these lines going up from the darker end of the cheeks, going up there. And of the darker brown than this, so I'll go in, I'm thinking after. And maybe darken up the areas even darker. But yeah, keep it simple shapes and keep your brush strokes all going in one direction. And like, once again, there was no sketching in this, there's no second guessing. Everything I put down has to stay. There's no erasing. So if you do make a mistake, you either gotta let it go or just cover it up, build on it, go with the flow. And Purple Aki got out of prison apparently, and turned over a new leaf. The judge let him out, said, you know what, you can have a second chance, and lifted that ban, so he's now allowed to go back into gyms and stuff, which is reassuring. And he kind of seems to have kept a low profile since getting out of prison. Every now and again he'll pop up on social media. You'll see him on YouTube, these short videos of kids in Liverpool driving past them, shouting out the window, "Hey, Purple Aki, lad, you want to feel me muscles?" So just building up layers of colour here, switching to a flesh tone sepia kind of colour to highlight those cheeks, and kind of blend everything together. Got a wee bit of a red and pink in there too. What an incredible face to work with. Could you imagine riding along your bike and that jumping out from behind a bush saying, "Can I feel your biceps?" It'd be quite terrifying. He was absolutely massive. He was well known for his immense physical stature. In the 90s, the Guinness Book of Records even contacted him because he could leg press 1,000 kilograms. 1,000 kilograms leg press. That's about 8,000 burgers for American viewers. And the urban legend that he became, like a living bogeyman. Even outside Liverpool, people would hear about him. Fascinated me. Now you can see him going in with another dark brown here, trying to get these shadows built up. Really just building layer and layer here of the ink. Now you notice that I'm following the contours of the face. I'm not just scribbling and colouring in blocks. I'm trying to build up layers of definition. And when you're colouring, keep it nice and free. You can see that my hand's moving nice and freely and loosely. Don't get bogged in by detail. You're looking at bigger objects. I can see two big circles, oval shapes where his cheeks are and his chin. So I want to work on that, work on those simple shapes and the definition of those simple shapes. Then you can go into more detail. These are double-ended markers too, so I'm using the brush end to cover these big areas. And no matter what medium you choose to colour in, I use marker, colouring pencil, crayon, airbrush, paint, digital even. You just gotta, it's all the same. It's all about tone, definition, and no matter what medium you're working in, you'll get better at it each time you try. So now I've got a decent skin tone down, base skin tone. I'm going in with a darker, very dark brown, and then eventually a black to get into those shadows. When you get under the lip there, that bottom lip would be sticking out, so there's going to be a shadow under there. Again, under the nostrils there's going to be shadows, and under the eyes. The eyes are quite important. Purple Aki has quite sunken eyes, so we really want to try and get some dark shadows in there. On the top of his eyelids, he's got heavy top eyelids. And get some shine on those to make it look like they're protruding. It's really all about looking for those simple shapes where they would be on the face and defining those. So in regards to the whole drawing, I just googled a photograph of Purple Aki. I had no preconceived idea of what it was going to look like. Again, an impulsive drawing. Go with the flow, see where the lines take you. But that'll come with time. The more you draw somebody, the more you look at faces, you'll start to see which parts you can exaggerate, which features to play off each other. It's not really about the exaggeration, it's about the features playing off each other, capture an expression, which you can do through multiple photographs, multiple reference photographs. Like a big part of caricature drawing, and any drawing I guess, but especially caricature drawing, is looking at what you're drawing, actually taking the time to study the relationship between those features, how that translates onto the page, and work on that. Just draw, look, draw, study, and it's a muscle. You'll get better at that. So I've moved on to the clothing here. Got his hat down. Used a black Crayola marker for that. Got another darker black marker to go in on grey. Get onto that hat. That's where you're going to get most of the shadow. But I'm just going to put a line across there. I want to kind of give definition into his brow. Use that shadow to help define his brow. Now those wee eyebrows up there might just look like two little black lines, but they're invaluable in capturing expression. It's very rarely you see people with symmetrical eyebrows. One's usually a little bit higher or a little bit lower, bends in different ways. So certainly incorporate that into your drawing. Very rarely do you see symmetry in a face. So things have a wee bit more depth now. You can see the cheeks, the chin there, and the neck. Still want to go into the brow and the bridge of the nose. Darken that a bit more. And in around his eye sockets there. But overall it's starting to take shape. I'm also keeping in mind that towards the end I'll be able to go in with a white pencil or a white pen, even a crayon, and make the highlights pop. But as you can notice, I've left the top of the cheeks, the nose, the chin, the highlights where the light is going to be hitting. Left that purposefully light on ink. So I'll swipe some markers off my daughter and we'll start colouring the clothes here with them. I don't even know what brand they are or anything, but it doesn't really matter. It's blue. It's wild to think that the British government actually had to invent a bill just for this dude, to stop him from going to gyms. to stop him from asking people to feel their muscles. And then eventually the judge just said, you know what, we'll lift that, you can have a second lease at life. Back on the streets, just don't be feeling people's muscles, alright? Put the tape measure away. Keep it to yourself, mate. Keep it to yourself. So I wasn't happy with the way that blue looked. Shouldn't have swiped my daughter's markers, that's what I get. So I'm going over that with just a regular black Crayola marker. Keeping the lines all going in one direction. I'm not just scribbling. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time drawing clothing. Maybe in a future video we can go into how to draw clothes, creases and crinkles and materials and leopard print. This is actually a full-size white colouring pencil, white Prisma colouring pencil. I've just got really big hands, so it looks small. And I'm going in and looking at where the light is hitting the face, get those highlights popping. Now looking at the photograph, the light source seems to be coming from head on, like somebody has flashed, a bit of flash in his face perhaps. That's not my preferred light source, but we'll see what we can do with it here. So anywhere that light is hitting, I'm going pretty light. It's always easier to start off light and then go heavier with the white. Just look for that balance and tone. You don't want to go too bright too soon. I'm also softening the colour in pencil with my finger, just smudging it with my finger. Sometimes I'll use a blending stamp, but I couldn't find one, so I'm just using my finger. Now, as you can see, adding the white is really adding definition to some of those features, making things stand a little bit more. It's all about finding that tone, that balance. So I switched over to my art stick here, white art stick, Prismacolor one, which means I can cover bigger areas and I can get that sharp line. You notice that sharp line, bright white line down the right hand side of his face. Make his jaw stand out. And I'm basically just doing what I did for the shadows. Starting light, soft touches, build up layers. It's easy to build up layers of color than erase layers of colors if you're analog drawing. Taking a dark red coloring pencil here and going in under the eyes and the lips, anywhere where there would be a lot of blood vessels. Put some over his cheeks there too. There's blood underneath all that skin. He is purple-acky, so we'll throw a bit of purple into him. And the purple around the face there, it's not unique to purple-acky. I do that quite a bit. Anybody that's got like a 5 o'clock shadow or stubble, a dark blue or a purple over the flesh tone is a great way to insinuate that. Take a step back from your drawing every now and again. I take a step back and squint my eyes. Kind of makes all the features blend into one and you can see where highlights are, lowlights. A lot of dark colours in Purple-Acky's face, so I thought I'd give him a bright yellow background. Make things a wee bit sunnier. So I'm going to go in and just highlight some of those cheekbones, nose and chin again. Make it a wee bit brighter up there. Smearing and smudging as I go. So that light that's casting down under his eyelids, on the bridge of his nose, capture that, soften it out. Gonna actually get an eraser here, just a regular eraser. It won't affect the ink and it won't actually lift all the pencil off, but it'll certainly help soften it and give it more tone. And finally, this utensil is a blending stamp. It's just a rolled up piece of paper, rolled up piece of card. I just have surgical tape around it just so I don't get blisters on my fingers. That'll smear the colouring pencil and smudge it, soften it. Soften those colouring pencil strokes. And then we should be good. Starting to look like Purple Aki. Purple Aki, lad. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And when you're out walking your dog tonight, you hear that leaf rustle behind you, it might not just be a squirrel, might not be a bird, might be Purple Aggie. Next thing you know, your shirt sleeves rolled up, you're running down the street with him on your back. Kiss a kitten, you cavorting Cassandras. I'll see you next time. Cheers.